Thank you very much. World Leader Summit Organization founder and CEO Arijit Bakaria, program directors, volunteers, ambassadors, country and companies representatives, sponsors, and partners, in short to say all protocols observed. Let me start by thanking Mr. Arijit on a personal basis for making it possible for me to be part of this summit, thus representing my country, Namibia. It is noticeable that innovation is a key area of any economy, be it private, be it government. And without innovation, we as human beings, we as beneficiaries of nature, tend to lack and move in a very difficult direction. And yes, innovation in one way has caused what might be referred to as a negative impact on the environment. But we believe that sustainable innovation is the key and the best way of driving any form of economy in a positive direction. Now, in the past 20 years, we were hit by the novel coronavirus, which drove us back into looking at new measures of living and adapting to life. And to me, that was through innovation. And I want to make it a call today to say, innovation is the only thing that will make us prepare a better world for today and for the future. Because innovation makes us foresee the possible outcomes of our actions that we perform today. It also makes us predict that which may happen tomorrow. Innovation makes us seek solutions that are sustainable and that can benefit the world in a positive manner. Today we are calling and we are talking about digitalization, which is driven by innovation. Imagine when we were hit by the novel coronavirus, we were forced to go into a digital world. Platforms, innovative platforms such as e-learning platforms, communication platforms, Zoom meeting platforms, those platforms were only developed as a result of innovative thinking. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you quote me well, all those are symbols and result of entrepreneurship. Industrialization was boosted through the connection and through the link up of innovation and the current situation. So for as long as we have innovation, we are going to boost our entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship solely depends on innovation. For as long as we innovate our current livelihood, for as long as we innovate what we utilize today, then we are heading in a very entrepreneurship environment, and then the call and the cry of unemployment will be reduced. That is for all nations. Now, globally, we have a case of vaccines. And there is a calling that some countries seem to be more advanced than others, and yet they are more on the safe side as their people are being vaccinated. Yes, disadvantaged countries are still having lower vaccination rates. But then also commitment has been demonstrated by the distribution of these vaccines as well as donations. But then again, it drives us back to innovation. Maybe it is time we look in an innovative direction and try to find a better way of contributing towards vaccination by innovation that is boosting and increasing the production rate in an innovative manner so that no country is left behind. Or perhaps Instead of depending on same 1, 2, 3 companies that are producing in 2 or 3 countries those vaccines, why don't we innovatively teach other countries to produce those vaccines? So innovation is still driving us back to as a basic need of life. It is the only key component that we need to focus on as young entrepreneurs, as forefathers of entrepreneurship, that we need to boost innovation, for it is a key area of the world. Without innovation, we are doomed. And for as long as we continue neglecting it, then worse than COVID-19 situations are in the way, and they're going to hit us even much worse for as long as we don't prepare for them. Now, let me note, one of the key reasons why innovation has been neglected is poor leadership. And notably, I want to connect leadership to innovation, because without proper leadership, innovation becomes neglected. And it is with that core that I want to note, leadership links with innovation in terms of time. So maybe let's change an approach in terms of leadership. Because believe me, if for as long as we have people that still believe that the enemy to human beings are human beings, like it was 50, 100 years ago when we had world wars, when man was fighting against man, then the approach to innovation becomes different and difficult, because the approach is focused on a different aspect. But if we initialize and encourage young leadership to become as the forefront of any kind of idealism and development, then we are putting innovation forward, because young leadership promotes current situation. They think in the current basis. But for as long as we continue leading and putting people that still believe in ancient kind of leadership in the forefront, then we are diminishing and limiting innovation, and we shall continuously endure the benefit, which is a negative one for that matter, and situations and pandemics and other more things that are yet to before us will continue. So maybe let's change the approach in leadership, because young leadership comes with the current thinking. They think based on what is the situation today. Yes, history is very important, but that does not justify white hair leadership. White hair leadership is what we are rejecting, is what we are refusing, because it has contributed to limiting innovation. That being said, I want to encourage each and everyone to be an advocate of young leadership and innovation, for they work together, and that is going to promote entrepreneurship, industrialization, as well as equipment. By equipment, I don't mean physical equipment. I mean us being equipped for any kind of disaster, any kind of pandemic, any kind of hinder that may limit our potential as human beings. We are not in the ages or in the eras where animals were enemies to man, or when man was enemy to man, but we are in an era where invisible enemies have become the most threats to human beings. And those invisible enemies include drought, climate change, and all sorts of pandemics. So let's change. Let's develop a new approach. Let's face the world in a different manner. And that being said, we might be able to change the world and refuse white hair leadership. Because a good leader is a good leader when you're about 6 years. Then you must hand over to the young leadership so that they deal with situations in their current life as it is tackling them. So they'll have a better view and a better strategy of also going through them. So if you have a company, you have an institution, or Maybe you are running a certain initiative. Try giving someone yang and see what is going to happen. Because that is the principle, that is the need, and that is the kind of leadership that we are advocating for, which is young leadership. Let the young people be leaders of their own era, and that way we'll be able to conquer all invisible enemies that are tackling us, that are making life difficult, and that are downgrading us and putting us to a point where we are under their control. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to conclude saying we have a huge responsibility, we have a very tough momentum, and if we are not going to face it in a certain way that it needs to be faced, then it is me and you that are going to suffer the consequences, which are not at all even good. I thank you.